Hello, my name is Eugene Wentworth, and I am a performance expert with the Fort Riley R2 Performance Center, a part of the Army Resilience Directorate. And today we'll be talking about imagery. And growing up in the sports you played, you bet you had a lot of coaches that were telling you to visualize. And they're partially correct. Visualizing is a great tool to use, but in imagery, you're taking it a step further because you're using your senses to create or recreate an experience within your mind. And we want to be more deliberate in going further than just visualization. We want to incorporate as many senses as possible to make that image very realistic and vivid. So it's like the actual event is actually occurring. So before we get a little deeper into imagery, I have an activity for us to do right now. I want you to take yourself, get comfortable, and immerse yourself in your favorite vacation spot on Earth. So right now, take about 2 minutes and just completely immerse yourself in that favorite location. Pretend you're physically there right now. So I want you to pause me, and then in 2 minutes, press play again, and we'll go from there. Welcome back. So in your own minds, you just immerse yourself in your favorite vacation spot. So that's all occurring in your head. So that's what imagery is. You're just taking yourself and recreating or creating an experience. So in your favorite vacation spot, some of you probably felt some of these senses get incorporated into that image. So for me, I'm from Maine. So when I take myself back to my ideal vacation spot, I'm back on the coast of Maine where I grew up. So I can see the rocky shorelines, the sound of the ocean waves hitting against those rocks. I can feel the sand beneath my toes. I can taste pier fries, which is just this very niche thing in the coast of Maine. Just very amazing French fries. And then I can smell that salty ocean air. So for you all, when you took yourself back to your favorite vacation spot, you probably felt some or all of these senses. But it's important that we want to layer on as many senses as possible because they make the situation more realistic and more vivid. So when we're using this in sport and performance settings, the same applies. When you're recreating or creating an experience in your mind, the more vivid and realistic you can make it, the more your body will learn from that image that you're putting in your mind. And when it comes to our performances, there are two specific ways that imagery really enhances our performances. The first is a mind-body connection. So research has shown that when you're engaging in effective and very vivid imagery that incorporates all of these senses, it's tricking your brain into thinking that the physical task is actually occurring. So your brain is getting activated similarly to you physically doing the task. Your brain thinks that it's actually going on. So your brain is going to learn from that. And just to take that one step further, it creates a mental blueprint. So right here we have a neuron. And essentially the simplest way to think of a neuron is that it sends information from your brain to your body telling it what to do. So a stimulus is occurring outside of your environment. Your brain's neurons are sending information to your body. So when you're engaging in very vivid and realistic imagery, essentially if you're bringing sight into play into that image you're creating a strong mental track here. So it's starting to strengthen that mental blueprint. And then with each and every sense that you start to incorporate, it gets thicker and thicker to the point where this mental blueprint is already very strong, stable, and ready to go. So just to fill this out. So when the task comes, you can see this blueprint is already thick, it's strong, it's quicker. The more you actively engage in imagery, the quicker this response will be because your brain is creating this connection from your brain of what to do when the task comes. By not having physically even done the task, you're creating this mental blueprint so your body can respond automatically when the task at hand occurs. And I play competitive ultimate frisbee, and that's where I engage in my usage of imagery. So in ultimate frisbee, similar to football, you have sort of a kickoff, but it's called a pull, where the other team throws it off to you. And in between each point, you do this. And there's about 90 seconds where you're on the line just getting ready for the point to start. And for me, this is a perfect time for me to run through some quick imagery. And I do it in real time as it would occur in the actual game, because that creates a more realistic version of it. But what I do is, while I'm standing on the line, I image perfect catches and perfect throws. So I start with a two-handed catch in my mind. Catch it, and then I go on to a clap catch, and then I go on to a one-handed catch. And then I also perfect my throws as well. So I start with a backhand and finish with a forehand. And what I'm doing there is I'm creating that mental blueprint. And I do this before each and every single point, so that when the point starts and I'm physically doing the task at hand, my body already knows what to do, because I've created that mental blueprint, incorporating all of my senses so that when the actual situation comes, my body can respond automatically. There's no conscious thought going into it, and athletes perform their best, most fluid, when they're acting with automaticity. They're just simply doing the motions because their body already knows what to do. You're trusting your training to that point. And if you engage in deliberate imagery like I do with my sport performances, you can gain controllability of your imagery within these performances. And controllability is so important, because instead of just recreating experiences you've already had, you can create ideal situations that you haven't had yet, or ones that you are anticipating in the future. Imagine you're going to an away event, or you're trying to do a skill that you haven't done before. If you can create that image, your body will learn what to do, so when you go to engage in it the first time, you already have that mental blueprint in place. It's very powerful if you're using this skill deliberately, because you can perfect performances, you can also perfect past mistakes you've made. Ultimately, you're perfecting your performances so your body knows what to do when the physical event actually occurs. The beauty of imagery is that it can be done literally at any time. Our bodies can only handle so much physical training. So it's important that we also get those mental reps in as well. For just 20 minutes a day, before bed, before performance, even if you just have some time in the middle of your day, you can engage in deliberate imagery to gain these perfect responses. And what I encourage you all to do is try and incorporate as many senses as possible. When you first start this skill, you may only have sight and one other, but through deliberate practice and deliberate usage, you'll start to layer on more and more of these senses that creates that realistic and very vivid image. And the more realistic and vivid it is, the stronger this mental blueprint is, the easier it will be to access so that you can perfect your performances when you're engaging in them. So for just 20 minutes a day, as many times per week as you can, I encourage you all to engage in imagery. As well as if you have any questions about this skill or any of the other skills that we have taught you from the R2 Performance Center, you can reach out to us. Our contact information is listed below. Thank you and have a great day.